Great. Well, then I'll get started. So my name is Amanda Acevedo, and I'm here from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, Books for Young Readers, and I'm happy to share with you today. So I'm going to start off with We Are Not Free by Tracy Chee. Tracy Chee's previous New York Times bestselling series was fantasy, but in We Are Not Free, Tracy dives into her own family's history to share about the Japanese incarcerations of World War II. Tracy calls this book a novel in stories, as it follows 14 different teenagers through the beginning of the incarceration, their time in the camps, and their experiences afterwards. These teens have grown up together in Japantown, San Francisco, and are as interconnected as they are conflicted. Each of these teens are just trying to live their lives, playing baseball, having crushes, struggling with their parents, but against a backdrop of racism and injustice that threatens their lives and their futures. It's a beautiful, heartbreaking, transcendent work that I think everyone should read. And if you need more inducement, it was just named to the National Book Award for Young People's Literature long list. Next, I have Thorn by Crystal Smith. Brimming with deliciously mysterious magic, political intrigue, and a passionate heroine who will do anything to save the one she loves, this highly anticipated sequel to Bloodleaf won't disappoint. After the tumultuous events of Bloodleaf, Princess Aurelia thought that the evil had been defeated, and she could return her brother to his throne in peace. But her life is upended once again when the kingdom she thought she saved falls to ruin, a loved one is tragically killed in a shipwreck, and her home country turns against her. With no place left to call her own, Aurelia returns to Greythorn Manor, her best friend's family mansion, only to find that Greythorn has sinister secrets of its own. With enemies closing in on all sides, Aurelia is caught in a mad fight to protect the only people she has left, her family. In her darkest moments, when all seems grim, will Aurelia find a spark of hope from a love she thought long lost? When Villains Rise by Kim Smeckel. Dexter meets Victoria Schwab in this dark and compelling fantasy about a girl who is determined to take down the black market once and for all in the conclusion to the trilogy that started with the critically acclaimed Not Even Bones. Nito finally has Fabrico, the boy who betrayed her to the black market, within her grasp, but then proof that her partner covets a Zanny, a monster who eats pain in order to survive, is leaked to the world, and Nita must reevaluate her plans. With enemies closing in on all sides, the only way is for Nita and Covet to take on the most dangerous man in the world, Fabrico's father. He protects the secrets of the monsters who run the black market. Stealing those secrets could be the only thing that stands between Nita and Covet and certain death in this thrilling conclusion to the trilogy. If you haven't read the series and want another way to catch up, Not Even Bones is now also a webtoon comic. Under Shifting Stars by Alexandra Latos. Audrey's best friend was always her twin, Claire. But as they got older, they grew apart, and when their brother, Adam, died, Claire blamed Audrey for the accident. Now Audrey's attending an alternate school where she feels more isolated than ever. Tired of being seen as different from her neurotypical peers, Audrey's determined to switch to the public high school, rebuild her relationship with Claire, and atone for Adam's death. But she'll need to convince her parents and her therapist first. Claire knows her sister thinks she's the perfect twin, but Audrey doesn't realize that Claire's popular status is crumbling. She's begun to question old friendships, dress in Adam's clothes, and wonder what feelings for a non-binary classmate Taylor might mean. As she grapples not only with grief, but also with her gender fluidity, Claire wonders where she'll belong if she sheds her carefully constructed image and embraces her true self. Will first crushes, new family dynamics, and questions of identity prove that Audrey and Claire have grown too different to understand each other, or that they've needed each other all along? The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. From New York Times bestselling authors comes a thrilling, dark, contemporary fantasy about a prestigious sorority of witches and two girls caught up in its world of sinister magics and betrayals. At first glance, the sisters of ultra-exclusive Kappa Rho Nu, the Ravens, seem like typical sorority girls, but the Ravens aren't regular sorority girls. They're witches. Scarlet Winter has always known she's a witch, and she's determined to be sorority president. But if a painful secret from her past ever comes to light, she could lose absolutely everything. Phoebe Devereaux has no idea she's a witch, and she's never lived in one place long enough to make a friend. So when she gets a bid to pledge the Ravens, she vows to do whatever it takes to become part of the sisterhood. The only thing standing in her way is Scarlet, who doesn't think Vivi is Raven's material. But when a dark power rises on campus, the girls will have to put their rivalry aside to save their fellow sisters. Someone has discovered the Raven's secret, and that someone will do anything to see these witches burn. Divided Fire. In a rich fantasy world where songs literally move heaven and earth, one sister must use magic, and the other must rely on strength to reunite when pirates' greed and war tear them away from each other. Mirren has never allowed jealousy of her sister's magic to keep her from taking care of Kessia, and Kessia has always depended on her big sister. When Kessia is kidnapped, Mirren will do anything to get her back, even team up with her sister's aristocratic and seemingly ineffectual boyfriend. Neither sister has ever left their small fishing village before, and now they're plunged into the wider world, minor players in a war between nations. Each sister faces external and internal perils, and each finds surprising allies and unexpected strength. It Only Happens in the Movies by Holly Bourne. In this cool, smart British import, Audrey is over romance. While dealing with her parents' contentious divorce, shifting friendship dynamics, and an ugly break of her own that has caused her to walk away from the theater program that she loved, Audrey has every reason to feel cynical and depressed. But then she meets Harry, her fellow coworker at her new job in the local cinema. He's brash, impulsive, a major flirt, and wants her to star in his zombie movie he's making. And even though Audrey tries to resist, she finds herself falling for his charms as they make the movie, and he helps her rediscover her love of performing. But can Harry keep his word and follow through on his promises? In this funny, insightful, and ultimately empowering novel, love and life isn't what it's like in the movies. Curse of the Divine. In Ink in the Blood, Celia Sand and her friend Anya fled the corrupt religion of Profeta into the refuge of the Rabble Mob, a traveling theater group. Celia and Anya used their tattoo magic to create their own act in the mob, and as a rebellion against the goddess of Profeta, Devalia, goddess coming after them herself. Though Cecilia and Anya were able to defeat Devalia with the help of their rabble friends, the price was high, maybe too high. In Curse of the Divine, the survivors must find a way to live with their guilt and find a way to destroy Devalia once and for all as she resurfaces more wrathful than ever. Celia will do whatever it takes to save her friends, even if it means making a deal with the devil himself. Return to the world of Inklings, tattoo magic, and evil deities as Celia uncovers the secret of the ink in order to stop Devalia once and for all. And last for me is Some Other Now by Sarah Everett. Before she kissed one of the Cohen boys, 17-year-old Jessie Rumfeld knew what it was like to have a family, even if technically that family didn't belong to her. She spent her childhood in the house next door, challenging Rowan Cohen to tennis matches while his older brother Luke studied in the background and their mother Mel watched over the three like the mother Jessie always wished she had. But then everything changed. It's been almost a year since Jessie last visited the Cohen house. Rowan is gone. Mel is in remission from cancer, and Luke hates Jessie for the role she played in breaking his family apart. Now Jessie spends her days at a dead-end summer job avoiding her real mother, who suddenly wants to play a role in Jessie's life after being absent for so long. When Luke comes home from college, it's hard to ignore the past. And when he asks Jessie to pretend to be his girlfriend for the final months of Mel's life, Jessie finds herself drawn back into the world of the Cohens. Everything's changed, but Jessie can't help wanting to be a Cohen, even if it means playing pretend for one final summer. Thank you for listening. If you don't already, please follow us on social. We do a lot of giveaways and fun things, and you can also see our resources library there with educator guides and lots of activities. Thank you.